I can tell you're all bopping along to the music because you know it's that time of the week. It is time for Mythflix, or as it's more popularly known, Live Irish Myths. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to episode number 340. I am your host, unfortunately for you, Anthony Murphy of Mythical Ireland. For the next hour or so, we're going to be delving deep into Ireland's mythological past, and specifically continuing where we left off last week with Lady Gregory's wonderful Cuchulain of Muirthemne, reading from the chapter that is called The Championship of Ulster. Hope you've been enjoying these readings. I certainly have, and of course, there would be nothing without your company. Just to mention before we begin this evening, if you are watching on whether it be on Facebook or on YouTube, please do join in the conversation by commenting, and we'll do our best to show as many of those comments as possible. If you like the live streams, you might also be interested in the Mythical Ireland podcast, which is available exclusively to Mythical Ireland patrons over on patreon.com/Mythical Ireland. The address for that subscription is scrolling on the ticker tape at the bottom of the stream throughout the broadcast. And just to also mention, if you're in Ireland, you may be looking forward to our upcoming tour of megalithic Sligo. And that's a joint tour between myself and Simon Chute of Monumental Ireland. There are still seats available on the coach, which will be departing on Saturday, 13th of September at 9 a.m. from Mullingar, heading to Creevykeel and Carrowmore and Carrowkeel, some of Ireland's most ancient megalithic monuments. I'll share the link where you can make your booking as a comment, and perhaps you might follow that. And if you'd like to join us, this is not the first joint tour with Mythical Ireland and Monumental Ireland, but it's the first time we're hiring a coach. We are really excited and very much looking forward to seeing you all on our adventure through the megalithic world of Sligo. Anyway, before we read this evening, it is customary of me, if you're new to these live streams, it is customary of me to welcome all of those who have said hello and commented already. Elaine Dent Lingenfelter, not surprisingly, is the first to comment, and she says, "Hello, Anthony, and all the Tua. Happy Labor Day to our US friends. Hope it's not too hot to enjoy it. We're cooler, but not cool. It's 29 Celsius. Wow. And that's cooler. Wow. Well, we're well used to the temperature reports from Texas, and they're always hot. Right now in Ireland, it's 15 degrees Celsius. 15. So yeah, it has cooled down here. Very autumnal over the last few days compared to the recent summer weather we've been having. Brendan Byrne says, good evening from Glendalough under a bruised sky. Oh, there's some red sky, bit of red orangey clouds there going on. Mixture of grey clouds and blue sky with some sunlit orange clouds. Imagine it's just after 8 p.m. and the sun is going down. Winter is coming. Fidelma Hart says, good afternoon from New Jersey in the US of A. Hello, Fidelma. Good afternoon to you. Not sure if you've watched before, but you're very welcome. What part of New Jersey is a matter of interest? Myself and my good lady wife were there in 2019. We stayed in Princeton. Thoroughly enjoyed our time there. I was giving a lecture at Princeton University. Yeah, I know me, little old Anthony from the Boyne Valley in Ireland, traveling all the way over to Princeton University, that erudite, what's the word? That famous institution. Always also taking in New York and Philadelphia on that trip. Fantastic time. Brad M is wishing us fairy blessings. Hello, Brad, watching on YouTube. Great to see you. Joe Krause is saying good morning from Melbourne in Australia. Good morning, mate. G'day. Just to be kitsch about it. Top of the morning to you. Happy Tuesday to you, Joe. Most of the viewers this evening are still in Monday, myself included. Hope you have a fabulous Tuesday down under and that the temperature's not too warm, although you're coming out of your winter, I suspect, it's still cool and maybe looking forward to longer and warmer days. Nico and Stephen are in the house. Good evening, Anthony and the Mythflix family. Mouse sends tail wags to Coda and the pups, and our ragdoll kitten sends out purrs to all from Concho, Arizona, where we're at 92 degrees at noon on Labor Day. Wow, that is hot. Keep the pets cool. That's the main thing. And I will pass on your tail wags to Coda and Saskia. She has just been outside. She doesn't go out that much these days because she's very old. And she's got arthritis, the poor thing. Yeah, I'll send them on. And you never know. We might hear them. I'm sure we'll hear Coda anyway, at the very least. Anne Scott Doherty is saying, happy Monday, everyone. Hello, Anne. And hello to Bill as well. Hope you're in good form. Brian M is saying, Faskarwa Atua Avail Tuguma Anthony. Apparently my name in Irish is Antone. Lol. Is that the way? Is that how we'd say it? Your name, that is. A-N-T-O for the I-N. Antone. Edina Sparks says, afternoon, Anthony, on the tour from a breezy 86 Fahrenheit day in New Mexico. Hope everyone is having a good day. What is 86 in Celsius? 30. Wow. I couldn't deal with that. And that's probably cool for New Mexico. Barbara Murphy is saying, hi, everyone. I'm back at the Pines at 7,200 feet. So nice and cold. Thunder rumbling. 75 Fahrenheit. And absolutely crappy internet. So fingers crossed. That's almost 24 Celsius. Barbara, hope your internet holds out. Elaine Dent Lingenfelder says, I can't see how many people are here or any other posts. I can't help you with that, Elaine, unfortunately. Use a bigger screen, use a different device. I'm not sure what to say to you. Hopefully you'll get it sorted. Apple O'Day says, I wish I were in Ireland. I think a lot of people are saying the same thing right now. Nice place, this. Just saying. Mariana Dunn says, Banachty, dear Tua and Anthony from Virginia, USA. We are celebrating Labor Day. Happy Labor Day to all of you in the US of A. Alan Hoskins says, evening, Anthony / everyone. Hope all well. Can't stay for the live show, but we'll catch up later when I'll be mounting and framing a couple of photos. Enjoy the show. Enjoy the mounting and framing, Alan. Hope they're nice images. Nico and Stephen are saying, Anthony, we were up to episode 139 as we were renovating our home, and it's been a blessing to listen to over the saw and drill noises as it plays in the background. We would call that in ham radio terms QRM interference. Yeah, brilliant. So glad that you're catching up, and it looks like you're going to get there. I mean, you're more than a third of the way through, so that's encouragement, you know. Yeah, absolutely. Just to say, speaking of mounting and framing, there is a permanent, well, at this stage it's permanent, 3-for-2 offer on limited edition Mythical Ireland prints. So if you want 3, you only pay for 2. If you're lucky enough to live in Ireland, you get free postage as well. And I've sent recently some supersized prints off to the States, and they looked fantastic. I must share some pictures of those on the Mythical Ireland community. Anyway, sharing a link there where you can order your 3-for-2 limited edition prints from Mythical Ireland, if you so wish. Wow, lots of comments to catch up on here. Andrew Christie is waving at all the Tua and myself. Hello, Andrew. Welcome to the live stream. I've been reading Winifred Faraday's translation of the Táin, says Brian M. Got a new name for Cuchulain, Sitanta. Sure, Reastarha. It's a can of worms in a rabbit hole. Got a page of possible words associated. Wow, you are going down deep into that rabbit hole. And yes, indeed, Setanta was his name before he killed the hound and became Cuchulain, the Hound of Ulster. Rocio Marianne Lopez says, hello, Mr. Anthony. I'm in time for the greetings. I hope all the mighty Tua is doing great today. The sky is very cloudy. There's some mist outside. The temperature's 22 in Puebla in Mexico. Wow. That's warm enough, you know. And welcome, Rocio. So good to see you, as always, on the stream. Tuesday Thompson wishes us all a happy Mythology Monday, as is the custom that has become a thing now. Happy Mythology Monday. Happy Mythology Monday to you, too. Tuesday. Catherine Hupp is saying greetings from Colorado, USA. A very good afternoon to you, Catherine. Welcome from the Boyne Valley here in Ireland. Brian Boyle is saying hello from Rhode Island, USA. Well, hello to the smallest state in the US of A, from the smallest county in Ireland, the wee county, Louth, and McCallum. Oh, here we go. Thank you, Anthony and everyone. You really are a mighty two, and I'm truly overwhelmed by your kindness. Thank you all so very much for your generous and thoughtful well wishes. The doctors and hospital staff are well pleased with how well the surgery went, and they're all taking excellent care of me. Brilliant. As I put in a special word, I rang them up and said, listen, you've got a very special patient there. Look after her, because the two, I need her. And they said, yeah, we'll do our best. So they obviously are. With help from two physiotherapists, I managed to hop a very short distance from the bed to a chair. Everyone was so pleased. You'd think I climbed Mount Everest. Looking forward to story time, but with no book and no wine today. Okay, understandable. Hopefully I'll be able to stay tuned in till the end. A very happy Labour Day to those who celebrate. And just in case the context is not immediately obvious, because you may have missed my post on the Mythical Ireland community, Anne had an accident in her home last week and broke a couple of bones in her leg and knee and required surgery. We are very, very glad that you have so quickly returned to the live streams, and wishing you, of course, as we've said already, but we're very happy to reiterate, wishing you a very speedy recovery and all the love and best wishes that we can possibly send in your direction. Brilliant to see you on the live stream and your lovely comment. Marilyn Whitney is saying, hello, Anthony and Tua. 18 Celsius in Northampton. We had an intense rainstorm this afternoon. Wow. We had some showers today, but I was touring the Boyne Valley with a lovely group of people from Belgium. And we visited Douth and Fornox and the Hill of Tara. And the showers largely avoided us. We were very, very blessed and very fortunate and very thankful. Johnny Wilson is saying, a big howdy from Dallas, 27 degrees out in the woods. Well, at least if you're in the woods, you might get some shelter from the sun. Johnny, great to see you. Thank you for joining us. Elaine is thanking Anne, saying, so glad you felt up to joining us today. Yeah, I think it's brilliant. Ivania Lee says, Morena, good morning, from the land of Aotearoa, the land of the long white cloud, also known to you and I as New Zealand. Good morning to you, Ivania. Welcome to the live stream. Happy Tuesday to you from all of us who are here in Monday. Helen Withers is saying enjoy and sending a very, very large amount of emojis. A red rose, a flower, some rabbits, more rabbits. Yeah, well, I mean, the rabbit holes that we go down are interesting. Some quavers and a treble clef and a crotchet and some quavers, some music, some cats, a grey square, a cat with heart eyes, a cat looking surprised, a cat looking happy, a dog, a sunflower, a tulip, dog paws, a rainbow, a drooping flower, and another red rose. Thank you, Helen. I'm not quite sure of the meaning of it all, but happy Monday to you, and thank you for joining the stream. Rowan Grove is saying, greetings from Colorado. I've had to miss a few because of medical appointments on Mondays. Currently making peach and ginger preserves. Wow. Any possibility of sharing those around? Oh, wait, that's not really practical, Anthony. This is not an in-person meeting. Well, enjoy that, Rowan, and thank you for joining us. Good to see you again, as always. Lily Shambles, busy in here tonight. Hiya all, isn't it just? But sure, look, that's part of the whole Live Irish Myths experience, is meeting people of like mind. And yeah, Riastarha is glossed as the distorted one. Interesting, you know, Cuchulain was famous for the warp spasm. And I think the killing of the Nazgul on the Pelennor fields in the last of the three Lord of the Rings movies I just have a feeling it was inspired, at least in part, by that. When Éowyn reveals that I am no man and stabs him in the face, and then he collapses in on himself and distorts. Very much when I saw that, I thought of the warp spasm that our friend Cuchulain is famous for in Irish mythology. Barb Jordan is saying, hi everyone, happy to be here. No. More importantly, we are happy that you are here, Barb, as you have been since the very first episode of Live Irish Myths on the 12th of March, 2020. Barbara is saying to Anne, I hope you beat all the doctor's expectations. Bravo. Absolutely, yes. Talking of Alan's mounting, is it not about time you sorted the calendar? Yeah. I have a very, very busy schedule in September, not least the production of weekly podcasts for patrons. I don't know how I'm going to fit it all in, and I have to get the calendar ready for next year. Yeah, duly noted, Lily. It will be done. Desiree Riley's in the house. Hello to all the two. Me and Amadeus are getting excited about our vacation in Denver with the family that are driving up from Louisiana in a few days. And we're also excited about our planned meetup with the Mythical Ireland family while there. Can't wait to see everyone. Yeah. So, folks, there is, I don't know whether you'd call it a chapter, a branch, an offshoot of the Mythical Ireland community getting together in Denver in the coming week. And I think at last count, there were 9 people planning to go, including Mr. Rex Quinn Fortenberry, who's in Louisiana, but is driving up there. I think it's just absolutely brilliant. I'm totally bowled over by the fact that there is like a subunit of the Mythical Ireland community meeting up in the States. And I'm kind of jealous, to be honest, you know. I'd like to be there with you, but it's not really practical for me to go because I've lots to do over here. But I'll be there in spirit, and I'm sure you'll be talking about me. In a good way, of course, I hope. Catherine Cleary says, so happy to be joining you, Anthony and the Tua. San Diego is very warm, but beautiful. Still, I'm happy to be connected with Ireland through all of you. And we are very glad to have your company, Catherine. Stay cool in San Diego. Working with some folks from LA, and it's so lovely to hear them say how beautiful our country is. My Belgian visitors today, on several occasions, remarked how beautiful Ireland is. And it reminded me, they're absolutely right. By the way, if you haven't seen my mug before, it says, sometimes all you need is a good book and a cup of tea. Well, I have the good book. I have a cup of tea, and even better again, I have the company of some wonderful people. Do you see the way I said some? And now some of you are going, is he talking about some of us and not all of us? Of course, I'm talking about all of you. Richard Burgess says hello from New York. And yes, Anthony, this area of the northern Catskills has been known as the Irish Alps since the 1950s because of the large number of Irish people here. Brilliant. Sure, look, we're all over the place. I hope you have some good Irish pubs or bars over there. Do you get good Guinness over there? Yeah. Lily is saying, oh, you mentioned Quavers. I really missed the ketchup flavor. Who mentioned Quavers? I didn't mention Quavers. No. Oh, I did. Quavers as in musical notes. Yes, indeed. I really missed the ketchup flavor. We're talking about crisps here now. Or as they're called in America, chips. Anne, talking about wine. I hope that wasn't how she had her accent, reaching slightly too far. No. And when Anne has the glass of wine in hand, she is sitting back in the chair with her feet up, watching Live Irish Myths on a 42-inch TV screen, I'm sure. 10 total. Now, but more are welcome to join. Wow, it's growing. The Denver chapter of the Mythical Ireland community. Brilliant stuff. Judy McQueen is saying good afternoon / evening to you, Judy. Good of you to join us. Wish I could join the group in Denver, says Catherine. Sounds like it will be wonderful. I'll be there in spirit. Catherine Hupp would love details on the Denver gathering. I live here. Email me, and there's her email address. There you go, Desiree. Another willing attendee. Come here, listen. The one thing that's very important about this Denver chapter meeting. Chapter? I don't know. Is that such a good word? We'll have to come up with a good word for the Denver subunit. Take plenty of pictures and share them on the Mythical Ireland community, please. I'd love to see that. Mvanwe Millward has joined us. Good evening, all, from Mid Wales. Hope everyone's keeping well. All good on this side, Mvanwe. A great pleasure to see you, as always. Excellent. I appear to be largely caught up. Chris Haney Lang is joining us and saying, good day from the hamlet of Young, Arizona. A very good afternoon to you, Chris. A great pleasure to see you. And yeah, enjoy the live stream. We're just about ready to start reading at exactly 25 minutes since the beginning of the stream. 25 minutes since the beginning of the countdown music. 20 minutes since the beginning of the live stream. Branch is a good word, says Brian M. Yeah, branch. The Denver branch of the Mythical Ireland tree. I like that. I like that. Now, I'm not saying it's not good. I'm just saying if anyone can make a better suggestion, we'll take it on board, you know. Grace Walker is saying, hi all, I'm in the book, I'm late. Yes, you would be, except for there is no book. You're very welcome to the live stream, Grace, and we're just about to start reading. So in a way, you're perfectly on time. Desira says, well, we were the Colorado 6, but we've grown. Brilliant. I think chapter is perfect since you read books to us. Yeah. Yeah, okay. So chapter is good. Yeah. Grace Walker is saying, blessings to all from NY, which of course is New York. Is that city or state? Well, I suppose if you're in New York City, you're also in New York State. Is that right? Am I right about that? If you're in New York City, you're also in New York State. New York City is in New York State. Is that right? Anyway, never mind. I'm having a little discussion with myself here. Samantha Healy has joined us, saying hello from the beautiful Cúchulain Mountains. And of course, the Cúchulain Mountains, part of the setting for Toynbee Cúchulain and Cuchulain. So, yeah, it's very apt that you should be watching from Cúchulain, Samantha. I'd nearly be able to wave out the window and you'd see me. I'd have to wave out. I'd have to go up on the roof, actually. Can't see the Cúchulain Mountains from here, but they're in that direction and they can be seen. If I put the drone up, I can see them, no problem. State, says Grace. Thank you for clearing that, Grace. Grace is in New York State. I like the Colorado clan, says Desiree. It almost makes you sound subversive in a way. But it's good because the clans ruled Ireland in the medieval times. How about the Tua de Denver? I like that too, Richard. Oh, they're coming hot and fast. I think we're going to have a competition on our hands. What to properly call the Mythical Ireland Community's Denver chapter. John Main has joined us. Hello, apologies for being late. Beautiful sunny day finally in San Francisco. Happy autumn day to you, John, from a suitably autumnal Boyne Valley. Great to see you and great to chat with you by other means in between live streams. Yeah, me and John have a direct line. There you go. Bet you're all jealous. Anyway, Tua de Denver. Yeah, that's that could stick, you know. Anyway, we're continuing. So we left off in the middle of a chapter. It was a bit of a cliffhanger. Some of you didn't like that, but hey, you know, you have to keep them keen to keep them coming, you know. And this is chapter 5 of Cuchulain of Muirthemne by Lady Gregory, the Championship of Ulster. We're continuing from just a little bit lower down than halfway down the page, 381. Desiree says, haha, that's the winner. Tua de Denver. I like it. I like it. I like it. Yes, indeed. I think that one's going to stick. Apologies to people who made other brilliant suggestions. But, you know, in these things, there's always one that sort of sticks out above the others for various reasons. In this case, clever and funny at the same time. Right. Sure, I suppose we better get going. So on the morning of the morrow, the three, Cuchulain, Cúchulain, and Lera, set out for Cúri's Dun. At the gate of the Dun, they unyoked their chariots, and they went into the courtyard. And Blanad, Blanad, I wonder, is that a variant spelling of Blanad, which means little flower, daughter of Mind, Cúri's wife, gave them a good welcome. Cúri was not at home that night, but knowing by his enchantments that they would come, he had left instructions with his wife how to entertain them, and she did according to his wish, giving them water for washing and drinks for refreshing and beds of the best, so that they were well satisfied. When bedtime came, Blanad told them They were each to take a night to watch the fort till Cúchulain would come back. And it is what he said, that you should take your turn according to age. Now, in whatever part of the world Cúchulain was, he made a spell every night over the dun, so that it went round like a mill, and no entrance could be found in it after the setting of the sun. This again sounds astronomical. The mill, the turning of the mill, Hamlet's Mill, that wonderful book from the 20th century, and something that turns after sunset, the zodiac, the entire sky, you know. Wow. I'm just going to take a little margin note here, as I am wont to do. The first night, Léire Buadach took the watch, for he was the eldest of the three. As he was keeping watch, towards the end of the night, he saw a great shadow coming towards him from the sea westward. Very huge and ugly and terrible he thought it, and it took the shape of a giant and reached up to the sky, and the shining of the sea could be seen between its legs. It is how it came, its hands full of what had the appearance of stripped oaks, and each of them enough for a load for 6 horses. And he hurled one of them at Léire, but it went past him. He did this 2 or 3 times, but the beam did not reach either the skin or the shield of Léire. Then Léire hurled a spear at him, and it did not hit him. He stretched out his hand then to Léire, and the length of it reached across the 3 ridges that were between them, while they were throwing at one another, and he gripped hold of him. Big and strong as Léire was, he fitted it like a child of a year old into his hand. The giant turned him round between his 2 palms, as a chessman is turned in a groove, and then he threw him half dead over the wall of the fort into a heap of mud. There was no opening there, and the people inside the dun thought he had leaped over from outside as a challenge to the others to do the same. Speaking of the devil, speak of the devil, and he shall arrive. It's Coda, looking to get outside, barking rather loudly. Oh, apparently you want to come and say hello. Is that right? No. Hey. No, I know you can sniff, Saskia. Do not pee on the floor. I would be very unimpressed. Coda, are you going out? No, you're not. Don't you think of lifting that leg. Come on, come up. Come up. Come up. No, I'm not rubbing you unless you come up. They want to see you. Come on. Come on. Come on. Oh, yeah, that's the boy. Very brief appearance by Coda. He's down again and he's gone. That's what happens. There you go. Amadeus, you got your little... I told you. No, you can't. No, there's no point sitting there all... I'm not going to rub you through the... No, I'm... Oh, maybe I will. I know you like that. He's moving around. He's like, oh, yeah, move your hand down. Oh, yeah, that's nice. Oh, yeah. Oh, lovely. And his ears are pinned back, and he's just like, oh, yeah, that's nice. Oh, yeah, keep doing that for the next hour. I don't think so. I don't think so. Go on. Yeah, I have to read. You're still sniffing. Don't you even think of lifting that leg. Or I'll have to get the mop out in the middle of a live stream. Where was I? Whoops. Yes, fitted like a child. Turn around like a chess piece in a groove. Chessman. There they stayed until the end of the day. So, more astronomy references maybe. And at the fall of night, Cúchulain went out to take the watch, as he was older than Cuchulain. Everything happened as it did to Léire the first night. And when the third night came, Cuchulain went into the seat of the watch. When midnight was come, he heard a noise, And by the light of the cold moon, he saw 9 grey shapes coming towards him over the marsh. "Stop," said Cuchulain. "Who is there? If they are friends, let them not stir. If they are enemies, let them come on." Then they raised a great shout at him, and Cuchulain rushed at them and attacked them, so that the 9 fell dead to the ground. And he cut their heads off and made a heap of them, and sat down again to keep the watch. Might have been nice if Cuchulain had kind of said, "Can you identify yourselves? Because I might cut your heads off and then find out afterwards, whoops, you're actually friends of mine." Another 9 then, and then another shouted at him, but he made an end of the 3 9s and made one heap of their heads and arms. So here we go. There's an astronomical number. 3 by 9 equals 27 is the number of days that it takes the moon to return to the same position against the backdrop of the stars. So if, for instance, you see the moon in Aries tonight, in 27 nights' time, it'll be back in Aries again. I'm thinking there is astronomical information encoded in this story. What do you think? "Star appearance," says Samantha. "A mouse's ears are perked. Hello, Coda." Catherine is saying, "Beautiful Coda, give him a little love rub." He got more than a little. He was kind of like, yeah. He thought it was going to go on all night. Amadeus is a happy boy. Did Coda come back when you said Amadeus, his name? Ha ha ha. Yes, indeed. You can always screw a horse brush to the bottom of your desk like I did so Coda can give himself scratches. Yeah, I really love that idea. I think that's very, very clever. Just making sure. "As a graduate of the University of Denver, I hope I can include myself in the TUA," says Richard. "The TUA de Denver." Yes, indeed. I think you would be an honorary member. Yes, indeed. Coda made a very, very brief appearance. Was it last week or the week before where he made a much better appearance? But anyway. I just noticed someone gifted me a subscription. Thank you to whomever, said Grace Walker. Nice. And that's the kind of people these lovely folk are. While he was watching on through the night, tired and downhearted, he heard a sound rising from the lake, like the sound of a very heavy sea. However tired he was, his mind would not let him keep quiet. Sounds like insomnia. To me, and we've all experienced it, where we're exhausted, but the mind is wide awake, and the thoughts are racing, and the mind will not let us go to sleep. Then he saw a great worm coming up from the lake, and it raised itself into the air over him, and made for the dun, and opened its mouth. And it seemed to him that one of the houses would fit into its gullet. So a huge lake worm, which sounds a bit like those stories that we find in myth, Irish myth, of the Cara, for instance, the strange beast that St. Patrick was said to have killed, or the Mata in the Boyne, or the Ulfeist, which is a story associated with some lakes and rivers of Ireland. Then Cuchulain, with one leap, reached its head and put his arm round its neck, and stretched his hand across its gullet, and tore the monster's heart out and threw it to the ground. Then the beast fell down, and Cuchulain hacked it with his sword and made little bits of it, and brought the head along with him to the heap of skulls. And so that has echoes of an ancient Irish and Indo-European creation myth, the dismemberment of the monster. That theme is definitely familiar to us from the story of the Mata in the Boyne, a very ancient creation myth, in which that monster is also hacked to pieces and its pieces thrown into the River Boyne. He was sitting there towards the break of day, worn out and discouraged, when he saw the great shadow shaped like a giant coming to him westward from the sea. "This is a bad night," he said. It will be worse yet for you," said Cuchulain. Oh, sorry. Okay, so it's the monster who's saying, "This is a bad night." "It will be worse for you yet," said Cuchulain. Then he threw one of the beams at Cuchulain, but it passed by him. And he did that 2 or 3 times, but it did not reach either his shield or his skin. Then he stretched out his hand to grip Cuchulain as he did the others, but Cuchulain leaped his salmon leap at the head of the monster with his drawn sword and brought him down. Life for life, Cuchulain, he said, and with that he vanished and was no more seen. Then Cuchulain wondered to himself how his fellows had made their leap over the fort, for the wall was big and broad and high, and twice he tried it and failed. Then anger came on him, and he went a good way back and made a run. And with the dint of the anger that was on him, and the courage of his heart and of his mind, he hardly took the dew off the tips of the grass in the run, and he made one leap over the wall and lit in the middle at the door of the house. Then he went in through the door and gave a sigh. And Blanad, wife of Cúchulain, said, "That is not the sigh of a beaten man, but a conqueror's sigh of triumph. For the daughter of the king of the Isle of Men of Falga, the daughter of the king of the Isle of the Men of Falga, knew well all Cuchulain had gone through that night." Anthony, Boggle, our kitten, is up at the big screen TV and is chasing your movement with a paw. I'm very interested. Is he now? Hello, Boggle. Hey, catch me if you can. Brilliant. I didn't know you did subs on here. I actually don't, so I'll be honest. I'm not exactly sure what the subscription thing was about, but hey, it sounds lovely. Hardly a subscription to Patreon. Can you do that? I'm not sure. Oh, you're back again. Well, I think I'm going to take up Desiree's suggestion and lash some sort of a brush to the. Well, what? What? You want rubs? Oh, what? No, yeah. We'll give you rubs. Okay. Now that you've made an appearance, we definitely will. Yeah, that's okay. Now, he's happy now. The champion's portion must go now to Cuchulain. Yes, we're still talking about the champion's portion, she said to the others. For you see by this that you are not equal to him. We do not agree to that, said they, for we know it was one of his friends among the Sidhe came to put us down and to put us out of the championship. We will not give up for that, they said. Then she gave them a message she had from Cúchulain, that the 3 champions were to go back to Awan until he would bring his judgment there himself. So they bade her farewell and went back to the Red Branch. It was a good while after this, as the men of Ulster were in Awan, tired after the gathering and the games. Concuvar, games, interesting. Some sort of assembly, maybe. Concuvar, thanks for getting dog hair all over me, Coda. Yeah. Concuvar and Fergus, son of Roe, were the chief men, went from the field of sports outside, the playing fields, the henges, as they say at Brunabonia. Interesting. Sorry, I'm taking more margin notes. Fascinating. And sat down in the house of the Red Branch. But Cuchulain was not there that night, or Conall Cearnach, but all the rest of the chief heroes were in it. As they were sitting there towards evening, and the day wearing to its close, they saw a big awkward fellow, very ugly, coming to them into the hall. It seemed to them as if none of the men of Ulster could reach to half his height. He was frightful to look at. Next his skin he had an old cow's hide, and a grey cloak round him, and over him he had a great spreading branch, the size of a winter shed, under which 30 cattle could find shelter. Coda either disagrees with something I just said, or wants to join in the reading, or maybe there's an outside possibility he just wants to go out. Ravenous yellow eyes he had, and in his right hand an axe weighing 50 cauldrons of melted metal. Wow. Its sharpness such that it would cut through hairs if the wind would blow them against its edge. Tom King is not here, and he's missing this. Lexi Erickson is saying to Catherine Hupp, we would love to have you. That is de Tua de Denver. He went over and leaned against the branched beam, that was beside the fire. Who are you at all? Said Dovetalk of the chafer tongue. Is there no other place for you in the hall that you come up here? It is to be candlestick to the house you want. Sorry, I'll read that again. Is it to be candlestick to the house you want, or is it to set the house on fire you want? Ua, the stranger is my name, Uath, said he, and neither of those things is the thing I want. The thing I want is the thing I cannot find. And I, after going through the whole of Ireland and the whole world looking for it, and that is a man that will keep his word and will hold to his agreement with me. What agreement is that? Said Fergus. Here is this axe, he said, and the man into whose hands it is put is to cut off my head today, I to cut his head off tomorrow. Surely, if he cuts your head off today, you won't be able to cut his head off tomorrow. But hey, this is mythology. This is Irish mythology. Anything is possible. And as you men of Ulster have a name beyond the men of all other countries for strength and skill, for courage, for greatness, for high-mindedness, for behaviour, for truth and generosity, for worthiness, let you find one among you that will hold to his word and keep to his bargain. Conchobar I put aside because of his kingship, and Fergus, son of Roe, for the same reason. But outside of these two, come, whichever of you will venture, he to cut off my head tonight, I to cut off his head tomorrow night. You keep talking about hounds. Coda is feeling left out. Give him a sword and shield. Yeah, good idea, yeah. Oh, wait, hang on. A sword, maybe not such a good idea. One of plastic? Oh, yeah, he would probably eat that. Chew it to pieces. It is not right for dishonour to be put on a whole province, said Fergus, for the want of one man that will keep his word. Sure, there is no champion here after these two are left out, said Dovetalk. By my word, there will be one this moment, said Lyra, and he leaped out on the floor of the hall. Stoop down, clown, so that I may cut off your head tonight, you to cut off mine tomorrow night. By the oath of my people, said Dovetalk, it is no good prospect you have if the man killed tonight comes to kill you tomorrow. Then Ua, is it Ua or Uath? I'm not quite sure, to be honest. Then Uath. Middle Irish scholars, please help me, Josie Weatherford. Put spells on the edge of the axe and laid his neck down on a block. And Lyra struck a blow across it with the axe till it went into the block underneath. And the head fell on the floor, and the house was filled with the blood. I bet you thought I was going to say laughter. No, I wasn't. But presently Uath rose up and gathered his head and his axe to his breast and went out from the hall, his neck streaming with blood, so that there was terror on all the people in the house. Yeah, so we ventured into horror movie territory very firmly here. And I'm just wondering, Lady Gregory, it definitely says Lady Gregory with a preface by W.B. Yeats, not written, in fact, by Stephen King. I swear, said Dovetalk, If the stranger being killed comes back tomorrow night, he will not leave a man alive in Ulster. Back he came the next night to have his agreement kept, but Laora's heart failed him, and he was nowhere to be found. So I guess he's not getting the champion's portion. But Colonel Ciarnach was in the hall, and he said he would make a new agreement with him. So all happened the same as the night before, but when Uath came the next day, it was the same with Conall as with Laora. His heart failed him when it came to the keeping of his bargain. I think you can all see where this is going. Brendan Byrne suggests he's getting ahead of himself. Take some Panadol. I suspect you'll have a bit of a headache in the morning. Cuchulain was there that night when Uath came in and began to reproach and to mock at them all. And for you, men of Ulster, he said, all your courage and your daring is gone from you. You covet a great name, but you are not able to earn it. Where is that poor squinting fellow that is called Cuchulain? He said, till I see if his word is any better than the word of the others. I will keep my agreement. Sorry, let me read it properly, folks. I will keep my word without any agreement, said Cuchulain. That is likely, you miserable fly. It is in great fear of death you are. On that, Cuchulain made a leap towards him and gave him a blow with his axe and hurled his head to the top rafter of the hall so that the whole house shook. On the morrow, the men of Ulster were watching Cuchulain to see if he would break his word to the stranger, as the others had done. What do you think is going to happen, folks? Will he break his word or will he keep his word? Let me think. I wonder, is it remotely possible that it will be he will keep his word? The full Irish is in the house. Gary, good evening. Great and good. What about the old soft day on the old sod, or fine day on the old sod? Where is that greeting that we used to get? Yes, indeed, Rothio, I completely agree. As Cuchulain sat there waiting for him, they saw that he was very downhearted, and they made sure that his life was at its end, and that they might as well begin keening him. And then Cuchulain said to Conchobar, and there was hanging of the head on him, quote, do not go from this till my agreement is fulfilled, for death is coming to me, but I would sooner have death than break my word, unquote. They were there till the close of day, and then they saw Uath coming. Where is Cuchulain? He said. Here I am, he answered. It is dull your speech tonight, said the stranger. It is in great fear of death you are. But however great your fear, you have not failed me. Then Cuchulain went to him and laid his head on the block. Stretch out your head better, said he. You are keeping me in torment, said Cuchulain. Put an end to me quickly. For last night, he said, by my oath, I made no delay with you. Then he stretched out his neck, and Uath raised his axe till it reached the rafters of the hall, and the creaking of the old hide that was about him, and the crashing of the axe through the rafters was like the loud noise of a wood in a stormy night. There's a printing error here. All the text has dropped off the page. The pages are blank. I can't read anymore. We'll have to leave it there, folks. Very sorry for that. Anyway, thanks for joining us on this week's live stream. I'm joking, of course. I'm joking. Keep you on a cliffhanger. You're all sitting on the edge of your seats going, okay, Cuchulain's neck is on the block. Uath is bringing his giant axe down, made of, what was it? The melted metal of 3 cauldrons or something like that. And just as we're about to find out what happens, Anthony decides, End of episode. See you all next week. I wouldn't do that to you. I really wouldn't. And there's no way that I would keep talking and waffling and bullshitting in order to keep you in suspense. I mean, I just wouldn't do that. I want to make that clear. I would not fill out the time while you're all sitting there screaming at the screen saying, what happened? Tell us, for goodness sake. Fast forward. Stop this bull. I wouldn't do that. I just wouldn't. There's no way I would ever. And I wouldn't like anybody to ever think that I would do it intentionally. Keep you all waiting like that. How heartless would that be? You know, how ridiculous would that be? And I couldn't possibly start reading out comments, you know, like, no. And Marilyn saying, what? And Brian M saying, lol. And Brian M saying, dun, dun, dun. Ruth Graham is finding the whole thing very funny. Muirthemne Millward thinks it's a cliffhanger. And I wouldn't, as I said, there's no way I would do that. I wouldn't. I would put you out of your misery very, very quickly. Just to say. The great thing about watching this back as a video later is you can fast forward this bit and find out what happened really quickly without having to wait. Where was I? Oh, I've lost my place. Oh dear, I'm going to have to find it again. And then he stretched out his neck and raised his axe till it reached the rafters of the hall. And the creak of the old hide that was about him, and the crashing of the axe through the rafters like the loud noise of wood in the stormy night. I think that's where I got to, was it? Maybe. Will I read that again? Just so that we know where we were. Okay, I'll get on with it. But when they unsubscribe, everybody's leaving the live stream. I'm never watching that rubbish again. But when the axe came down, it was with its blunt side, and it was the floor it struck, so that Cuchulain was not touched at all. And all the chief men of Ulster were standing around looking on, and they saw on the moment that it was no strange clown was in it, but Cúchulain, son of Dara, that had come to try the heroes through his enchantments. Oh, the bugger, Cúchulain, disguising himself as Uath, the monster. Wow. Anyway, so the long and short of it is, Cuchulain did not die, and he wasn't even hit by the axe. And it was the blunt end of the axe, and it didn't even hit Cuchulain, it hit the floor instead. Ah, phew, says Muirthemne. Brendan Bird is like, Anthony, come on. Or that should have said, or making dad jokes instead of reading. Oh, yeah, speaking of which. And there's no way that I am currently consulting another screen and reading this. There's no way I would ever do something as amateurish as that. I would always recite my dad jokes by heart. One spelling mistake can ruin your marriage. For instance, I accidentally texted my wife, I'm having a great time. I wish you were her. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't laugh at my own jokes. I should wait till I see. Wait till I get some sort of response. Coda, bite him, says Brendan. Sally Siggins is saying, evening from Schligach. Hello, Sally. Welcome to Live Irish Myths. We're having a bit of a laugh at them. Well, I certainly am. I don't know about the rest of them. I've been keeping them in suspense. Oh, booger. Come on, Anthony. Yeah, it's done. Yes. And it says here that a woman won the Euro Millions and didn't tell her husband. Anne? She's gone. Rise up, Cuchulain, he said. This is Cúchulain, previously disguised as Uath, making out as if he's going to chop Cuchulain's head off. Of all the heroes of Ulster, whatever may be their daring, there is not one to compare with you in courage and in bravery and in truth. The championship of the heroes of Ireland is yours from this out, and the champion's portion with it. And to your wife, the first place among all the women of Ulster. And whoever tried to put himself before you after this, he said, I swear by the oath my people swear by, his own life will be in danger. With that he left him, and this was the end of the women's war of words and of the quarrel among the heroes for the Championship of Ulster. Now, that's the end of that chapter. Good news is I'm going to continue reading the next, at least a couple of pages of the next chapter, which is called The High King of Ireland. Richard is suggesting that Cuchulain should turn down the champions portion because all that red meat can't be good for his anger issues. Not to mention his cholesterol, you know. Yeah. I'm intrigued how the captions have the word of what you say before you say it. Well, you see, so yours, I think, because I've sometimes have to watch just to make sure the stream is okay here. And when I watch it on YouTube, it is a few seconds, at least a few seconds behind the live, as it were. So I think there's that lag. There's a bit of a delay. I find song helps with my pronunciations. I'm not good, but no one said perfection meant being a good singer. Yeah, well, I'm not a very good singer at all. I had a belt made out of watches. That was a waste of time. Actually, quite seriously, the number of viewers has dropped by 8 or 10 since I said I was leaving it on a cliffhanger. I think some people took me seriously and left. Others left in protest. They were not at all happy about being left on a cliffhanger. You know, apologies about that. Humor and all of that. This is chapter 6, The High King of Ireland. There was a king over Ireland before this time, whose name was Yochi Féilech, and it is he who was grandfather to Cúchulain the Great. And of course, many kings had the title, forename. It's not really a forename. Epithet? No. Title is probably better, of Yochi, Eochaid. And that's apparently where Haughey's Fort near Owenmacha gets its name, the King's Fort. He was going one time over the fair green of Briley, which we know from the story of Tuchmark Etain as the place where Midger fostered Angus, as the place where Etain was brought by Midger and met Midger's wife, Fuamnach, who was not at all happy to see the concubine. And the rest, as they say, is history, or in this case, the rest, as they say, is mythology. And he saw the she of a well. Sorry, it's not she, Anthony. The word is actually side in this case. And he saw at the side of a well a woman with a bright comb of silver and gold. And she was washing in a silver basin, having 4 golden birds in it. So this is interesting. A woman by a well. Sounds like the Nile of the 9 Hostages story. I'm watching both in Facebook and YouTube. Let's get that algorithm up the hills. Brilliant stuff, Rossio. Thank you. And she was washing in a silver basin, having 4 golden birds on it, and little bright purple stones set in the rim of the basin. A beautiful purple cloak she had, and silver fringes to it, and a gold brooch. And she had on her a dress of green silk, with a long hood embroidered in red gold, and wonderful clasps of gold and silver on her breasts and on her shoulders. The sunlight was falling on her, so that the gold and the green silk were shining out. 2 plaits of hair she had, 4 locks in each plait, and a bead at the point of every lock. And the colour of her hair was like yellow flags in summer, or like gold after it is rubbed. There she was, letting down her hair to wash it. Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair. Suddenly the number of viewers has spiked again. So it looks like people are back. They realize, oh, he was lying. He was lying to us when he said the stream was over. And her arms out through the sleeve holes of her shift. Her soft hands were as white as the snow of a single night, and her eyes as blue as any blue flower, and her lips as red as the berries of the rowan tree, and her body as white as the foam of a wave. The bright light of the moon was in her face, the highness of pride in her eyebrows, a dimple of delight in each of her cheeks, the light of wooing in her eyes. And when she walked, she had a step that was steady and even, like the walk of a queen. Of all the women of the world, she was the best and the nicest and the most beautiful that had ever been seen. And it is what King Yochi and his people thought, that she was from the hills of the She. In this case, this time it's definitely the word she and not the word side. It is of her it was said, all are dear and all are shapely till they are put beside Etain. And of course, it is the one and only Etain previously mentioned. Desiree apparently also watches on both Facebook and YouTube. I'm delighted to hear that. Don't mess with the Colorado 6. Don't mess with the Tua de Denver. Still think that's brilliant. Then Yochi sent his people to bring her to him. So this is Yochi. What did you say his name was? Phalach. And when she came, he said, "Who are you yourself, and where do you come from?" Very Irish way of saying things. You know, most of us would say, "Who are you?" But in Ireland, we've a peculiar way of speaking the English language. Who are you yourself? It's like we add these flourishes, unnecessary flourishes, but just to show that, you know, we're speaking English as it is spoken in Irish. Who are you yourself, and where do you come from? It is easy to say that, she said. I am Etain, daughter of Etar, king of the riders of the She. Oh, this is very Lord of the Rings-ish. Rohirrim, riders of the mark. Ride on. And I have been in this place ever since I was born, 20 years ago, in a hill of the She, and kings and great men among them have been asking my love, but they got nothing from me, for since the time I could first speak, I have loved yourself, and given you a child's love, because of the great talk I heard of your grandeur. And when I saw you now, I knew by all I had heard of you, I knew you by all I had heard of you, and so I have reached to you at last. It is no bad friend that you have been looking for, said Yochi, but there will be a welcome before you, and I will leave every other woman for you. And it is with yourself I will live from this out, so long as you keep good behavior. Yeah. Preconditions. Prenup agreement being formed here, folks. You know? Who are you yourself? A great country line, says Sally. Couldn't agree more. It's brilliant, isn't it? Then he gave her the bride price, and she lived with him till he died. But one time she was brought away from him by Midger, and Yochi brought her back by force, and that the She had no goodwill towards him after that, but brought a revenge on his house and on his grandson, Conora. Now, this is a slight variant of the detail in Tochmark Etain, in which the king is Yochi Aram, and Midger steals Etain from him, and he destroys or digs up the She Mounds and the She Hills of Ireland, looking for them. So it sounds like the same story, but with just a different king involved. They had one daughter that was called by the same name as her mother, Etain. Apparently, this in Middle Irish, this name would be pronounced Edain. But for the purpose of, I was going to say conformity, not conformity, consistency. For the purpose of inconsistency, because you know, I don't always know how to pronounce these things. I'll pronounce it the way I've been pronouncing it for years, which is probably wrong. And, they had one daughter that was called by the same name as her mother, Etain, and that was married to Cormac, king of Ulster. Obviously not to be confused with Cormac MacArt, the High King of Ireland. And like her mother, she had but one daughter, and there was vexation on Cormac when she had no son, And he bade 2 of his serving men to bring the child away out of his sight, and to do away with her. What a cruel bastard. What a cruel... Things I can't say on the live stream. Very bold language. Yeah, I know, Samantha. Good behavior. It's like, wow. Some things never change, do they? So they brought her to a pit, but when they were putting her in, she smiled a laughing smile at them, and they had not the heart to harm her. Well, thank God, somebody's got some humanity. So they brought her to a calf shed belonging to the herds that minded the cattle of Etterskale, great-grandson of Ir, king of Chower. That's king of Tara. And they cared for her, and they cared her well there. They cared for her well there. I'm suggesting there's a word missing. And they cared her well there, and there was not a king's daughter in Ireland was nicer than herself. And they made a little house of wickerwork for her, with no door, but only a window high up in it. King Etterskale's people thought it was provisions the herds used to keep in that house. But one day a man of them got up and looked in through the window, and what he saw was the nicest and most beautiful young girl of the whole world. Now, I'm just going to take a slight diversion here, and that is just to introduce the idea that so the father had said do away with her because he was unhappy that he didn't have a son. Yeah. And then instead of killing her, they keep her in a wickerwork prison, basically, right? Does this sound a little bit like the story of Ethna and Balor keeping Ethna locked in a tower on Tory Island because of the prophecy that he would be killed by his grandson, so he couldn't allow his daughter to ever see another man in case she fell in love and got pregnant and had a son that would kill Balor? Maybe. Tenuously, at least, there's a link here. Sounds familiar anyway. When King Etterskale heard that, he sent his people to break into the house and to bring her away, and ask no leave of the cowherds. For he had no child, and it is what the Druids had foretold, that it was a woman of unknown race would bear him a son, and he was sure this was the woman that had been foretold for him. So there is an element of prophecy here too. Interesting stuff. Grace Walker is heading off early. Don't worry, we'll catch you on, watch the recording afterwards, Grace. Great to see you anyway, and we'll see you next week, hopefully. But before the king's messengers reached the house in the morning, Etain saw a bird coming in at the window. And when it came in, it left its bird skin on the floor. And what she saw was a man before her. Wow. Bird changes into man. So we had Angus changing into a swan in Ashlinga Anguso. We had Etain and Midger turning into swans in Tuchmark Etain. Now we have a bird shedding its skin and turning into a man. Fascinating. And he said, the king is sending messengers to bring you to him, that he may have a son. But it is to me you will bear a son, and no bird must ever be killed by him. And his name will be Conora, son of Mesbochel, that is, son of the cowherd's foster child. Then she was brought away to the king, and the herds that had fostered her went with her, and they all got good treatment. And it is what she asked, when her son Conora was born, that he might be brought up between 3 households, the household of her own fosters, and of the 2 honey-worded mains, and her own. And she said that if any of the men of Ireland had a mind to give help in his bringing up, they should give it to those 3 households. So it was like that the boy was reared. And there were 5 other boys reared along with him, Ferger, Fergal, Ferogan, Ferobine, and Launa Druth, the fool of the house of Dundessa, the champion of the army from Mucleshi. And they all used the same food, and their clothing and their armor and the color of their horses were the same. And after a while, King Etterskell died, and there was a bull feast made ready at Chower, as the custom was, to find out by it the best man for the kingship. Strange ritual, which I could describe to you, but if I did, I'm full sure that I'll probably read it in the next couple of paragraphs. So I won't. Hopefully, the next couple of paragraphs will explain it to you. What is the bull feast, the Tarav Fesh of Chower? It is this way the bull feast was made. Well, what do you know? The text is going to explain it. A white bull was killed, and one man would eat his fill of the meat and of the broth, and in his sleep after that meal, a charm of truth would be said over him by 4 druids. And whoever he would see in his sleep would be king, and he would tell them his appearance. And if he told what was not true, his lips would perish. What does that really mean? His voice would fail? His lips would fall off? They would go blue? And what the dreamer saw in his sleep this time was a young man, and he naked, and having a stone in his sling, passing the road to Chower. Easy, ladies, easy. So this is the bull feast that foretold the coming of Conora. Sorry, I'm just taking a margin note. Now, just at that time, Conora was out playing games near the Liffey River. That's the River Liffey, which flows through the modern city of Dublin, with his foster brothers. And the cowherds that had reared him came and bid him to go up to Chower to attend the bull feast that was going on there. So he left his foster brothers at their games and turned his chariot and went on till he came to Cúchulain, the ford of the hurdles. This is the famous story. How the ford was formed in Dublin is from the story of the Mata being killed at Brunabonia at Newgrange, and its pieces being thrown into the Boyne, back to the monster that was killed and dismembered earlier in the story, in the previous chapter, and its rib cage floated down along the River Boyne, out into the Irish Sea, down along the coast, and into the River Liffey, and rested there in the ford of the hurdles, the ford of the rib cage. So basically, Cúchulain, Dublin, gets its name from Boyne Valley myth. What can I say? If the Dubs knew that the name of their city came from the Boyne Valley in County Meath, they would be not just a little bit upset. Yep, ritual sacrifice used for the gods and divination by second sight. Yes, indeed. So he left his foster brothers at the games, turned his chariot, and went on till he came to Cúchulain. And there he saw great white speckled birds, the best in size and appearance he had ever seen. I'm interested in the fact that they're both white and speckled. So they're not swans, and they're not egrets. They're not gulls. What are they? What bird is white and speckled? And of course, they're big. And he followed them till his horses were tired, but he could not come up with them, for they always kept just out of his reach. Then he got down from his chariot and took his sling and followed them to the strand. And they went into the sea and were swimming on the waves. And he went after them to take hold of them. So are they wading birds? Seabirds? Or are they just otherworldly mythological birds, not based on any real bird? Then they left their bird skins, and it was men he saw before him, and they turning to face him with spears and swords. Fascinating. So here we have another example of birds turning into men. But one of them took him under his protection and said, I am Nevglan, king of your father's birds. And there was a command put on you never to make a cast at birds, for there is not one here, but should be dear to you. Brian M. Well foretold. I never knew of that command till this day, said Conora. Then Nevglan said, what you have to do is to go to Chower tonight, to the bull feast, and it is through it you will be made king. For it is a man that will go naked, and having a sling and a stone in his hand, along one of the roads to Chower, towards the end of the night, that will be king. Fascinating. I love that. Towards the end of the night, which is kind of really big, towards the beginning of the day. At the threshold of both. I always find that fascinating. There's some symbolism there, isn't there? A liminal time, indicating that the transforming birds, this has got something to do with the other world, that liminal time and space between that other world and this lived mortal world. And your bird reign will be great, he said, but there is gyasa, that is, a bond on you not to do these things. Do not go right-hand wise around Chower and left-hand wise around Bregia. Do not hunt the evil beasts of Kierna. Do not go out beyond Chower every 9th night. Do not settle the quarrel of 2 of your own people. Let no robbery be done in your reign. Do not sleep in a house you can see the firelight shining from after sunset. Do not let one woman or one man come into the house where you are after sunset. Do not let 3 reds go before you to the house of red. So these are his gyasa or his taboos. And of course, we've read these before and we've encountered them because in 2020, I think, the first year of the live streams, we read over a series of 4 episodes, the destruction of Da Derga's hostel, which is directly connected with this tale of Conor O'More. Yes. But here are Conora's taboos or gyasa restated. Psychopomps, I think, Andrew, yeah. Birds that sort of stray between this world and the next. I'm going to read one more paragraph and then we're going to leave it at that because we've been reading for an hour now. And yeah, I have to keep his hanging. But it maybe not as big a cliffhanger as earlier when you thought the whole thing was over prematurely when I was only joking and loads of people left. Don't do that again, Anthony. Then Conora set out for Chower, naked, and having a stone in his sling. And on every one of the 4 roads to Chower, there were 3 kings waiting, and having clothing with them for the king that was foretold. And when the 3 kings on Conora's road saw him coming, they met him, and put royal clothes on him, and brought him in a chariot to Chower. Chower is, of course, Tara, the hill of Tara, the seat of the high kings. But the people of Chower said when they saw him, our bull feast and our charm of truth were not worth much, when it is only a young, beardless lad they have brought us. So they took one look at him and said, he's too young, he's not wise enough, he's not old enough to be the high king. It looks like our druidic charms and prognostications, our Tara Fesh has failed us. That is no matter, said Conora, for it is no disgrace for you to have a young king, when my father and my grandfather held the same place. That is true, they all said then, and they gave him the kingship, and he said, I will learn of wise men, that I myself may be wise. And what's really fascinating about this is, given that Conora's father was the king and his grandfather, why the need for the bull feast and all of the rituals and all the rest when they could have just said, yeah, okay, let's pass it on to the son. It's the obvious choice, except for the fact that he's a bit young. Beardless. So beardless, apparently indicating lack of wisdom, lack of age and wisdom kind of going together. Well, you would imagine so. let's not go there, Anthony. Let's not talk about current real world parallels. No, we will not do that. But what's fascinating is that the precise details of the bull feast are uh, in Geraldus Cambrensis is rendering of it. Gerald of Wales, who remember was a bit of a propagandist and apparently didn't like the Irish all that much and exaggerated about us and made us look stupid. He said that the prospective king had to actually mate with the white mare. And having done that, the white mare was then sacrificed, chopped into pieces, and put in a giant bath or a vat. And the king had to basically get in naked into the remains of the horse and all of the blood, and eat the flesh and drink the blood. But the precise details of the Tara Fesh of Tara are that a druid and I think a chief druid had to then sleep in the skin or the hide of that bull. Sorry, that's the white mare. I'm confusing the two. Apologies. Yeah, so this is a variant. The variant of the story, as told, a kingship right belonging to the Cinel Noam in the north of the country, referenced by Geraldus Cambrensis, suggests that the prospective king had to mate with a white mare that was then sacrificed. The king had to eat the flesh and drink the blood. But here is the Tara Fesh at Tara, in which the bull is sacrificed and the prospective king, the druids have to eat the flesh and drink the blood. But then the chief druid has to drape the bull's hide around him and sleep in it like a duvet cover or like a sleeping blanket. And also keep a piece of the bull's beef, the bull's meat, between his teeth and chew on it all night long. All night long, do 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 do. All night long, do 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 do. You're all thinking the same thing. What a madman! No, as soon as I said all night long, you all started singing that in your heads. All night long, do 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 do. And a careful note was to be kept of exactly what the druid dreamed of while chewing on the meat and sleeping in the bull's hide. And this would reveal the truth. So the fair flaw, the sovereign, would be revealed in the dream. And this is precisely what happened. The druid dreamt that a naked young man would walk along one of the roads to Tara. And of course, when they saw this, they were unimpressed. They were a little bit like, no, we don't think you're the fella, really. You're too young and you haven't got a beard. You're not wise enough. So it definitely has to be someone else. And Cúchulain basically said, my father was king and my grandfather was king. And then they said, fair enough, we'll give it to you so. And made him high king. There you go. Cúchulain's reign is interesting, and I won't spoil it because obviously that's coming in the next part, or at least I think / hope it is. Cúchulain's reign was very interesting, but the most interesting aspect of Cúchulain's reign mythologically is its end, the breaking of the Gyasa, the defying of the taboos, and the disaster that befalls him in the story of Tugal Brunya Da Durga, the destruction of Da Durga's hostel. And there's kind of a bit of hilarity in there, I won't mind telling you, as we found out when we read it over 4 episodes back in 2020. We had great fun. So I know some of you are new to Live Irish Myths, and I don't want to say too much to spoil it because we want to keep some of the secrecy and the mystique and the enjoyment of it, basically. We're all clubbing now, Anthony, says Samantha, a.k.a. Lionel. Yeah, I know, right? Anne McCallum, rest well, get well soon, and of course you have all our best wishes. How did you know I love that song, Anthony? I'm not ashamed to say I did think of it too, says Tuesday Thompson. See, there I told you as soon as I said all night long. I love Lionel, says Mavanway. Saw him in concert in Cardiff. Brilliant stuff. Yeah, excellent. Good recovery, Anne, says Marilyn, and we all agree. Somebody saying hello to Tara Murphy. No way. I was slagging her off tonight saying maybe you'll get a chance to join. Is she watching? There she is. Tara Murphy. We've been talking about Tara, Chower, the Hill of the Kings, In this case, the Hill of the Queen. Yes, indeed. Hello to the one and only. Tua, say hello to my daughter. Finally, after all these years, she's tuning into an episode. Yes, we will turn her to the dark side of the Force. We will turn her into one of the Mythflix Tua. Yes, indeed. Brilliant, brilliant. Excellent. So great. How good of you to join. And yes, Tara is named after Tara. What a great name for a daughter, huh? Yes, indeed. Anyway, we have reached the conclusion. Great reading, jokes, question mark with the jokes, of course. Jokes and singing. Well, I think the quote marks, there should be quote marks around the singing. I'm not sure what passes for good singing. I'm not sure if that's it. But anyway, a couple of bars of All Night Long and everybody's happy, you know. Loads of people saying hello to Tara. Yeah, I know, right? There she is. Sure, look, we'll co-host an episode one day, and she will tell you what she thinks of my jokes, because she'll be there sitting beside me just slapping her face going, I don't believe he just said that and expected people to laugh. This is so embarrassing. Get me out of here. Yes. Anything else to add? Lots and lots of people saying hello to Tara. Tara must be bored. I did say that. If you got bored and you had nothing to do, join the live stream, you know? Yeah. Anyway, good. What else? What else is coming up? The Myths and Legends of the Hill of Tara on the 14th is almost completely sold out, if not sold out. That one is not being sold or booked through the Mythical Ireland website, but rather on Eventbrite. Let me just double check that. If there are still tickets available. Myths and Legends of Tara. Let me just see. Give me one moment, folks, till I find this. If there are still tickets, I'll share the link. Nearly full, which means there are, hopefully, there are maybe a few tickets left. So I'll share that as a link in the comments. If you want to book your place on that. That's Sunday, the 14th of September at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. With yours truly, the Myths and Legends of the Hill of Tara. That tour lasting about an hour and a half to maybe 2 hours. A walking tour of the Hill of Tara. Looking forward to seeing some of you there. Don't forget, of course, the big event, the tour on the previous day, on the Saturday the 13th, of Megalithic Sligo with myself and Simon Chute of Monumental Ireland. And that one is bookable through the Mythical Ireland website on the tours page. Remember the bins, says Tuesday Thompson. Thank you. Green and brown bins tomorrow. Yes, indeed. I'll put them out now when I'm finished. Good thing I watch on YouTube, on the TV and Facebook on my phone, because my mom called and I had to get off Facebook for a little bit. See, this is part of the reason you watch on two services and two devices, in case one gets busy and you're like, we can't miss Anthony's hilarious jokes and his singing. We don't all love the jokes, Tara. You'd be in good company, groaning. Yeah, that's it. Dad jokes. That's what kids do. They go, oh, Dad, no, seriously, stop. Don't embarrass us. Oh, dear, late again. Love to all, says Sue Prenter. Hello, Sue. And it was great to see you on our recent tour of... Where was that? Was that Ishnok? Where were you? Which tour were you on? I've had so many. I can't remember. Was it Ishnok? No. Hang on. Which one was it? No, I'm going to have to... I'm sorry. I'm going to have to find out. It was Newgrange Farm. That's what it was. It was Newgrange Farm. Anyway, at that, I better leave it. And yes, I enjoyed the reading and the extras at no extra cost. Welcome, Tara, to the tour. Have a great week, everyone. Stay safe. Exactly the same to all the rest of you. Have a great week. Newgrange. Yes, indeed it was, Sue. It took me a moment to remember. By the way, I'm sure Rex Fortenberry isn't tuning in because he's probably on his way to Colorado for the meeting of the Tua de Denver. Brilliant. Lots of pictures. I want to hear how it goes. One for listening, watching, one for chat, says Bert. Yeah, because it's hard to do both, isn't it? I agree wholeheartedly. Yeah. Okay. Thank you all for joining. Great pleasure. As always, episode 340. Wow. Imagine, after all this time, some desperate people are still tuning in for entertainment and education and insight and fun and companionship. We've got it all here on Live Irish Myths. Anyway, don't forget to subscribe to the email newsletter if you're new. That's on mythicalireland.com. It's a free email newsletter, keeping you up to date with all events related to Mythical Ireland. And if you want to support Mythical Ireland, of course, don't forget to subscribe to Patreon, and you get stuff for your subscription. It's not just pay a small amount per month for no reason at all. It's pay a small amount per month and get access to pictures and podcasts and blog posts and news updates and occasionally videos and live streams that aren't shared elsewhere. Anyway, for the podcast, subscribe at the Bronze Age level and above. That's $10 a month, US dollars, or the equivalent in your own currency. Thanks a million, everybody, for tuning in. It's been an absolute pleasure, as always. And best wishes to Anne McCallum for a continued recovery. And to the Tua de Denver, I hope you have a fabulous time. And I'm looking forward to seeing the pictures and hearing the updates. In the meantime, all that remains for me to say at this point is Ichoa Kolosov. Slán go fóil agus tóg go bogé. Have a fabulous week, all, and we'll see you next week. Same time, same channel, same stupid dad jokes.